walk lists in Trailblazer have been retooled. Let's take a look at what that means. I just did a query in my database for all those folks living on the 3000 block of Welcome Avenue. If I come down to my reports button, I will see our older style walk list reports with the word legacy in front of them. This means that at some point in the future they will be retired. We are replacing those with the walk list selectable format. I'll click OK, and I'll select the OK button. And what you're going to see when I do this is that it's missing a lot of columns out over here, and that is the reason for that is we need to add some columns into the format because the new walk list report type is based on the format that we're looking at. So what I'm going to do is use the format button, and I've got other videos that talk about the use of the format button, so I won't get heavy into this right now. But I'm going to go into the format and I'm going to take away and add some columns. So for instance, I really don't need the ID column, I really don't need the gender and birth date and some of these others. So I'm going to go into my format and I'm going to choose selected only, and I'm going to get rid of birthday, address default display type, I'll get rid of gender, I'll get rid of the include and the middle name and the Secretary of State Secretary of State number. Now the voter ID is a required field, but I can make that invisible by clicking on that Format tab and unchecking the visible box. Now when I do that, I got rid of a good chunk of the columns, but I still have the address columns over here that I don't want displayed. I'll go back into Format and choose Address Default Display. Again, show selected only. And I'll get rid of CD, LD, SD, and the county, and choose OK. Now if I run this report, it's going to look very similar to the last one I just ran, and I'll do that. And you'll see now it contains just the columns last name, first name, and all of the address information is moved into this row. Now it's time to add in some columns I would like. I'm going to do that by adding in, let's say I want to know about their party. I'll go down to the party column. I'll add that in. And maybe I am doing a support walk. So I'm going to go to my support tab and I'm going to choose my candidate committed, and that's 4. Misguided and supporting someone else is opposed. I just can't make up my mind is undecided. And if they are for me, maybe I'd like to ask them if they'd like a lawn sign and whether or not they'd like to be a volunteer. If I've add those columns in and choose the report walk list selectable format, you'll see some columns have been added, and there's even checkbox already pre-selected for those that have already got that attribute set. But you notice the column headings a little bit messy up here, but you'll see the party has also been added to this. Let's close out and let's revise some of the column headings so they fit a little better. I'll go to Format, the Format tab, where I can rename these. So my candidate committed is 4, opposed, undecided. See if they want a lawn sign. I'm just going to change that to lawn. And do they want a volunteer? Notice the columns now are a little easier to read there. They'll probably be a little easier to read on my output. Make these a little larger, and there they are. There's my 4, oppose, undecided, lawn sign, and volunteer, with still a fair amount of room to add more. This currently assumes I'm going to print in landscape mode, but if I want to change that, I just go to my print, select my printer in my case, go to preferences. I'm going to switch that to portrait, choose OK. When I go to print this, it'll come up with a report that's in portrait mode that will fit. I've squeezed this down so that you can see that this is fitting in a portrait mode. That is the shape. But if I want to go back to landscape, I can do that as well. Let's talk about one more thing on these reports, and that was the legend itself I had gone past before. These legends up here, you could add things like precinct 2022 in the congressional district of 05. When I click OK, those items will appear at the top of each page, so you have a way to identify what these particular pages are in reference to or what area they refer to. It is important that once you have a format you like that you save it. I'll go to my Format button, choose Save on top, and I may call this Walk List Support. Choose Save, click OK. I'll open up a brand new voter search. I'll go to a different street this time. I'll choose Drew. Here I have 203 people living on Drew. It went back to my default format, so I'll say Format, Load, Walk List Support. Now it's ready. I'll choose my reports, Walk List Selectable Format. It still has the same legends. It'll remember that from your previous print. And if your precinct now is different, I'll say it's now 31. The same format as we have chosen before has been printed to my screen.